Hello, this is Essie, the rich woman. It is 12:50 a.m. Wednesday morning. um, I'm really sleepy, but I'm still up because somebody was in my spot where I parked my van. So I just slept in my took a nap in my van. But if they hadn't been here, I would have been in my car and sleep already at 8 something. So I wanted to talk to you guys about um, people saying that Trump is the Antichrist. I don't believe Trump is the Antichrist because a lot of people hate Trump. And the Antichrist, I believe it says that they're supposed to love him or, be crazy about him in a good way. Like there's nothing bad said about him. And I told you guys that I learned in my Bible class that the Antichrist is the Pope. And how you know is when people want to be worshiped like our Heavenly Father. He wants to be like him. Because in the Bible it says he wants to be like the Most High. Um, if I when I might put that scripture in the comment section. But so it's somebody that want to be praised and worshipped, and I don't think that people will have no clue, you know. Well, most people, the mass wouldn't have no clue, but the people that are spiritually woke, they will know who it is. Um, and so I think that's how he's going to lead a lot of people astray. I remember watching this channel, and this channel, there's some channels out there where people call and they tell their dreams, their visions, and spiritual things that have happened to them. So it was this one particular channel I was watching, and the person had a dream, and in the dream he said that the Pope was the Antichrist. I don't know if he said Antichrist or some other word, but you get the point. And he said that the Pope was trying to get people to. He was trying to get people to do something. I don't know exactly what it was. It might have been. I can't remember. But he was trying to get people to do something. Um, it might have been get the chip. I think it was get the chip. That's what I think it was. He was trying to get people to get the chip. And he was using, now the person that had the dream said that he used a celebrity. The one called, I love his acting too. Um, oh my goodness. The white guy, Leonardo DiCaprio. He said that the Pope was on this stage and it was outside, and something happened, and the people were being brought to the Pope. So it was something happened that the people were very scared and very fearful. Remember how I told you about that fear? That's how they get people, through fear. So something had happened that was very scared, and they were very fearful, and they were being brought to the Pope. Wherever the safe place, the supposed to be safe place, which it really ain't a safe place, but wherever they were taking the people for so-called safety, the Pope was there. And he was on the stage, and Leonardo DiCaprio, he was using Leonardo DiCaprio to convince the people to take it. And so you know how they use these celebrities, because they know people look up to these celebrities. So they use the celebrities to try to convince the people to do things. So that's what the Pope was doing. He was using Leonardo DiCaprio to convince the people to get the chip. And he was saying as people was arriving, there was a group of people that looked, they were Christian people, and he was like so happy when he saw them. He was so happy when he saw them. Sorry about that. Hold on a minute. So he was so happy when he saw, like his face just lit up when he saw the Christian or the, you know, and he really wanted them to come. And so I can see something like that happening. So I was watching this video where it's called Truth Unedited. I like his YouTube channel, and you might want to go and subscribe to his, look at his stuff. If you like what you see, then subscribe. But it's called Truth Unedited. I had shared his channel, I think, on my last video, where he's telling you the things that you need when times happen where it won't be safe to go outside, you won't be able to purchase anything. That was Truth Unedited. So I was watching his video, and now I lost my train of thought. But he was saying that people think is Trump, and the reason why people think it's Trump is because the Jews is calling him the Messiah. So you know that the Antichrist wants to be like the Most High. He wants to be the Messiah. And so by the Jews calling Trump the Messiah, because the Trump is supposed to play a hand in building the third temple. So they is referring to him as the Messiah. If he builds the third temple, he's going to be their Messiah. So and so that's what that's about. And so that's why people are thinking that Trump is the Antichrist. So, but Trump is not the Antichrist. And so it's going to be someone that people love and respect. And that's how he's going to be able to trick you into doing what he wants you to do. And I know a lot of people it's not gonna think it's him, because he's been like in the background. He hasn't, really shown himself to be, a certain way. But when it's time for certain things to happen, he will step up and he will play his role that he's supposed to play. But I'm just looking at how the U.S. is right now, and I think some people are like blind to the fact of where the U.S. is headed. It blows my mind that, I have had dreams, so that helps me to know also where the U.S. is headed. But even if I hadn't had dreams, I can still see that the U.S. is headed down. I can see it, and I don't see how other people can't see it. And maybe they don't think that it's going to be as serious as it's going to be. Like, they probably thinking about '08. They're probably thinking about other times where the U.S. have had it hard. um, what was that, in the 30s, where they had the Great Depression or whatever. So they probably think that the U.S. is going to recover and going to go back up again. I don't know. I don't know about that. I really don't. In my dreams, um, when I see the U.S., it's like a big drop, like such a steep drop. You know how you show those graphics and those lines, and then they can show you when things is rising, and then when it's coming down, and then when it stands steady, like that. But it's like the US was like up here, and then it just went down like such a steep it just went all the way down, like down to. And so I wonder, like, okay, they firing everybody. They firing a lot of people, and they laying off people. They're making it so that they can't get unemployment. They're replacing the gig workers, like they're going to be having drones delivering things. They're going to have driverless cars, which they got those out already. So a lot of our jobs are going to be replaced with robots and machines and stuff. And so I'm like, where does this leave the people? They want to cut off all the good things that are to help the people. But where does this leave the people? Now, Trump wants to bring the warehouses and the work back to the U.S. So is the people supposed to work in the warehouses? So I'm just confused. But I know that they have a plan. But then I heard Elon Musk say something about a universal income, and that ours will be very high. We should have a high universal income. And so, that's when you give everybody some money. But in this case, I know it's not going to be money. It's probably going to be some type of credit that's put on like, I guess some type of crypto or something like that, like credit, where they're going to monitor everything that you buy. And, everything would be recorded. So I'm like, okay, so if a lot of people don't have jobs, and they give everybody an amount of spending money every month, what are people going to do? Especially young people. Now, young people should not be idle, because most of them, because they say what they uh, um, idle mind or something like that is the devil's playground. So if young people don't have anything constructive to do on a daily basis, most likely they're going to be getting into trouble. I just can imagine how young people are going to be in this country when they don't have to go to work. You know, I'm talking about people in their 20s, late teens, teens. Just how what are they going to be doing? I just don't see that being a good thing. Um, Young people having a whole lot of time on their hands to get into trouble. So I had the dreams that a couple of dreams I had. I guess my Heavenly Father shows me Murrieta, California. So my mother lives in Compton, and I remember leaving from her house. I went up. I went up, up. It was very steep. Went up. Then once I got to the top, I started going back down again. And I went down, and the drop like that went all the way down. It was scary going up and scary going down. But anyway, when I got down, I was in Marietta, California. So where my mother was in Compton, it was down. Then I went up, and then I went back down, and I was in Marietta, California, and that was down too. They were both in the same place, down. And when I got to Marietta, I just remember, like, there were young people, and they were out in the streets getting into trouble. I even got into it with one in that dream. And so whenever I see Marietta, California, I just see young people, young Caucasian people, and they're they're out of control. They're not respectful, which you can't hardly find too many that's respectful right now. But they're um just doing whatever, just having no regard for any older people, just out of control. That's how I see the young people. It's the second dream that I had, and I seen the young people in Marietta, California, just out of control. Um, Lately, I have been seeing some buildings graffitied, and you usually don't see that here where I'm at in Marietta. Like, if you see graffiti, it would be in a gas station restroom. But I noticed I've been seeing buildings and things graffitied lately. So, um, it's a low income apartment building that just opened up here. And so Marietta, they have a lot of new apartment buildings that have just opened, still being built. And then there's one that they laying the foundation for right now. I mean, just all over. Well, actually, it's a lot of them in the same place. I mean, the same general area, because I guess it was so much space in this general area. But so many apartment buildings, it would blow your mind how many they're building in this city. So, um, I don't know. I know one of them is low income. I don't know if the others are going to be low income. They're having a hard time filling these apartment buildings. I went and looked at one. It said luxury in the name, but I didn't feel that it was that luxury. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, you just have this in the name, but I didn't feel luxury when I was walking on the grounds. And so I took a friend with me, and I asked her, I said, do you think this is luxury? And she was like, yeah, look at this, look at that, look at this. But I didn't feel like it was luxury. And so in the one bedrooms, they wasn't luxury. And I'm like, all this money they want for these one bedrooms, and they're not even luxury. They wanted like 2300. And the two bedrooms were nicer than the one bedrooms, but they wanted like 32, around up in there. No, I think from like 28 to 32, around up in that price for a two-bedroom apartment. But just didn't feel like it was worth it. I mean, nowadays you definitely have to have a roommate to afford these $2,000 apartments, unless you got a good paying job. But they're extremely overpriced. So it just makes me wonder, like, what are they going to do? I mean, if you build these apartments, are you just going to let them sit there empty like that? So that luxury apartment been calling me ever since I went and looked at them. But I was thinking to myself, even if I had the money, I don't think I would rent that. It wasn't nice enough to me. It wasn't, you know. So I think because they have luxury in the name, I don't know. But even if I had the money, I would go look at something else that I like more than that, because I just didn't feel, it was worth the price. So I think, oh, I was watching something today and it was talking about Trump. Trump wanting to cut like dual citizenships. So I guess he don't want people to have dual citizenship, like you have one here and you have one in another country. So I think they're going to cut that. Um, that's crazy. I really get the feeling that um, they're going to try to trap the American people in the United States, where you won't be able to travel so freely like you do now, and even from state to state. Because I was I had got did I get a message, or I think I might have saw it on YouTube. I see a lot of things on YouTube, but it was saying that um, by May, I think it was May, if you don't have the real ID, you would not be able to take a plane from state to state. And I'm like, well, what's wrong with the ID I have now? Is it a fake ID? Like, why all of a sudden my regular ID is not good enough to go from state to state? So it makes me think that you calling my ID the fake ID, and I need to get the real ID to go from state to state. That's a load of bull. I'm telling you, that's a load of bull. Like stuff like that, when they start taking away your privileges, telling you you have to have this and you have to have that to get the same privileges you already had for years. Like, I was born in the US. So now you're telling me that I can't go on a plane to another state unless I have the real ID. Something ain't right about that. I'm not happy with this real ID, and I don't trust it. And so right now it'll be what's going to take effect. It will be plane. You can't get on a plane and go to another state unless you have a real ID. And then later on, it'll be in your car. You won't be able to travel in your car to another state unless you have the real ID. That's coming next. Watch what I tell you. That's crazy. So I don't trust this real ID, because what's wrong with the ID that I have now? The only thing I see is they're going to be putting more information on that real ID, all kinds of information that anybody can pull up and look at, which is none of their business. I don't like where this country is headed. I really don't. And so I do think that they're planning on trapping us in this death trap that is going to become one day. You remember how they closed those Walmarts and they turned them into some type of prison looking place? They put watchtower in the middle. They put a gate around it, put barbed wire around it. Like they're going to use it to hold people in against their will. Remember that? They was closing Walmarts, especially in the Black and Hispanic communities. That's mainly where they were doing it at. So, also, they got these, I don't know what state it is. It's like in the middle of nowhere, and they're white, but you can see grass all around, but they're white. And it looks like some type of holding place with a bunch of little rooms. So, I think they plan on using that on the American people. And ain't no telling what they're going to do when they take you to those holding places. What they're going to do to you. I think they're going to be putting stuff in the water. I think they already putting stuff in the food. But when it gets to the point when something happens and you have to look to the government for food and for water, you better trust and believe that they done put something in that food and water. Yep, I don't trust this government force. I can throw them. Because the Bible talks about Satan will sit in high places. And that's how Satan will always rule over the mass. Wicked and evil always rule over the mass. Yeah, that's how it is. That's why I don't trust the government, because I know that they wicked and evil. So just like in Egypt, when the Egyptians ruled over the children of Israel, they were evil and wicked, and it's still like that today. Yeah, so watch out. Just because, and I've been hearing people say that Obama is going to be the Antichrist. I don't know about that, because I learned that it's the Pope. But I believe that Obama will play a role in the evil that is to come. And I don't know what he's going to be called, but I believe he's going to play a role because he never left. Ain't no other president that's been relevant after he'd have left the White House like Obama. So I think that is going to be a way to trick up black people, because black people love Obama. So Obama might be used to get black people to do things to trick black people. So remember what I said, when the police officers are killed, they're killed by their own people because they're white and they're white. And so same thing with Obama. They're going to use him to get black people. So I'll talk to you guys another day, because my cell phone is finna cut off. Good night.